What's good, YouTube? In today's video I will show you how to build your Xaku for level 0 to 9999 level cap enemies in Warframe, Steel Path of course, and I will provide you with 2 builds, but first let me show you what he's capable of.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Welcome back, Tano. I hope you enjoyed the speedrun. Now, for the passive, 25% damage reduction in AoE, attacks and a chance to avoid incoming weapon damage makes it really nice passive, not so bad, could be better. Alright, first ability is Zata Whisperer, wield avoid damage for all attacks from equipped weapon when activated. This is his subsumable ability and it's really powerful and awesome, and unfortunately it doesn't give that amazing boost to all his kits, so we remove it for other helmet abilities that more beneficial, but you can keep it and play with it, it's not a problem. Alright, now it drains 25 energy extra damage affected by ability strength, duration is affected by ability duration, the range doesn't have anything to do with it. Now, this ability affected by base elemental critical and faction damage, Serration or Red Strike, Pressure Point, Convulsion, Cleanse Grenier, etc, and Vital Sense and so on. And the faction damage mods, after first applying to your weapon, will multiply the damage bonus a second time, effectively double dipping. That's why the Zata Whisper is really famous out there and it's really powerful. But again, for Xaku, I don't feel it just fit him, right? If you're going to use a helmet ability, it's the one you want to remove again. Grasp of Lord, Xaku's second ability and the best on his kit. Don't ever think about removing it for another helmet ability. Now, this ability will take weapons from the enemies and disarm them. Simple as that. Now, if enemies doesn't have weapons, you will use your own primary, so it's gonna be a mimic of your primary weapon. If you don't have a primary, it will become a void orbs fighting along your side. Now, ability strength will increase the void damage of this ability, and remember, the damage you see on the ability is the starting, okay? So if you see 20, that will scale to 50, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, the duration will increase the duration of the ability, it's obvious, but the range is so weird on this ability because it will increase grab range, how far you can grab those weapons, which is, okay, makes sense. Now, also, it will affect the target range, like how far the guns will hit those enemies, but what's weird is actually it increases max targets, means how many targets you will take their weapons, means how many weapons you will have by your side. Now, if this ability have 6, you will have 6 guns, if the ability have 12 or so on. With 280% range, this ability will have 16 guns fighting by your side. Crazy, right? Now, how does ability scale? It also scale with enemies level. So how is the calculation? And we're gonna do that also in Simulacrum. Now, the total void damage you'll be dealing is equal to the void damage you have, not the base, the final scale, not the 20, the 50. Okay, you get the point here. So multiplied on 1 plus the ability strength, means the ability strength that you have modded in your weapons, and then on your Warframe, and then multiplied on enemy level. Crazy stuff. And it has an augment called Vampiric Grasp of Augment. When a stolen weapon deals damage to an enemy, which they will be doing all the time, affected by the Lost, which is from the third ability, we're gonna get to that in a second, and Gaze or the Vast in time, Xaku heals by 25. Now this is ideal if you want to plan on using like combat discipline, you use health, you gain back health with Vampiric Grasp, but I think that's like not really good and like so much to it, alright? The Lost, Xaku third ability and the one that confuses a lot of tennos, so I'll try to make it as easy as possible for you. This ability has 3 abilities within: Accuse, Gaze, and Deny. Simple. Now, you cycle them with tapping on the abilities, and when you choose the one you want, you hold. That's how it goes. Okay. Now, Accuse will make enemies fight each other's. How easy is that? Now, Gaze, in the other hand, what it does, it will reduce the enemy's defenses, means will lower their armor, okay? With 200% ability strength, you'll be able to 100% armor strip them. Now, the Deny, on the other hand, it will deal damage, void damage, to enemies that actually scales with ability strength and how many guns you have from Grasp of Locks. And that's all you need to know. Simple as that. It has an augment called the Relentless Lost. The Lost augment, the Lost gains 35% ability strength and 15% ability efficiency when cast. The effect stacks up to 3 times. Casting the same ability back to back resets the effect. Now it's nice, it's good, sounds awesome, but it doesn't worth sacrificing a mod slot, to be honest. And mainly, to be honest, what you're gonna be using this ability for is for Accuse, so the enemies like start to fight each other, but mainly is for Gaze, so you can armor strip enemies, okay, for your Grasp of Lock to kill them all. Simple as that. Xaku fourth ability, the Vast and Time, his ultimate. Now, why you don't want to remove this ability? First, because it makes you 20% move faster, 75% dodging, means 75% of the incoming damage will be dodged, 25% still a lot at level cap, because enemies 25% damage is actually can one-shot you, but we're gonna get to that in the build. Also, it will make the enemy and vulnerable to more void damage. How awesome is that? And not only that, it will also slow enemies by 25% and it scales with ability strength. If you want to 100% slow enemies, you will need 400% ability strength. It's doable, but you will sacrifice a lot of range, hurting the second ability, and sacrifice, it gets messy, alright? You don't want that, okay? And by now you already know Xaku's second ability is the most important, and that's why we're gonna focus on it and how it scales mathematically. Now, first thing I want you to know, that the 72 void damage you see down there, it's already affected by my ability strength, Archon shards, so don't take it into consideration as 72 for your math to adapt. It's 50, okay? The damage will come afterwards. So it's 50. So let's set it on 50. So if we do the math, 50 multiplied on 1 plus 0.45, which is this 3 guys right here, the 15, 15, 15, which is 45%, 0.45, okay? Multiplied on enemy's level, which is 225 heavy corrupted gunners we're gonna fight, we're going to get a result of 16,312. Okay, let's try that. Let me really quick show you that it doesn't have any other mods equipped. All right, there you go, 45%, and you're good to go. So 100% strength is 50, and 45% strength gets it to 72. In the calculation, you don't add the 72, you just go for 50. Okay, let's summon them. Here we go. Now, as you can see, they're armor stripped, but there is something I want to show you. If we unstrip them, check this out. For the math to add up, alright? So check this out. Alright, there you go. How much did I say? 16,312? But wait a second, Hank. This is 1,600. The math is wrong. No. Now, you will deal 16,300, right? But there is something called damage reduction on the enemies, okay? There is something called damage reduction. So if I remove their damage reduction to 0 with 100% armor strip, and now the math will add up. You get it? You get it. So whatever number you find, you take it, and of course, you will lower it to 100%. So for example, if you find 100,000, that means it's going to be 10,000 before you armor strip them. You get the point here. And now let me show you quickly how to play Xaku. First thing you want to do is cast the fourth ability. When you cast the fourth ability, any ability you will cast afterwards, the duration is stopped completely. Okay, so then what you want to do is you create 2 areas with gaze. So we're going to be cycling, and you're going to create this area right here. And then you create, for example, an area right about here. So you control a bigger spot of the map for them to be armor stripped. Now, we're not armor stripping them right now, okay? because we don't have the 200% strength, we have only 145%. And then, as always, the fourth ability need to be active. And then what you want to do, you cast the second ability, you'll be stealing their weapons, okay, and you'll be dealing the damage like so. And now you'll see the damage is 12,924 and so on, because they're getting their damage reduction lowered from these two guys right here. And keep always the fourth ability active. Okay, that's that. Now, what you want to do is, if you want, for example, to accuse, to make them fight each other, is you use accuse, or like about, for example, this guy, or whatever. And then, that's it. That's all you need. So now, Hank, okay, this is good, but it doesn't even kill these guys. Of course it doesn't kill these guys, because we didn't maximize the abilities and all that kind of thing, and that's what we're gonna get to in a second. And before we get to the builds, I want to say that there is nothing wrong with playing Xaku with his kit. His kit is just perfect. Now remember, if you're going to use a weapon, okay, this is the one you're gonna keep. Zata Whisper is really amazing, and I can tell you during the video now when we show you the build and everything, what's the replacement you're gonna go for. Let's go. For the first build, I prepared for you this one, Cap 9999. As you can see, duration 155%. Forget about the modding. Duration 155%. Efficiency 45% negative. It's okay, we're gonna fix it. Range 235. 235. I'm getting 14 weapons. That's awesome. I'm happy with it. Now, strength is 228%. I am 100% armor stripping. This right here is perfection. This is a perfected right here. Okay, brief respite, because we're going to be using shield gating. What is shield gating, Hank? Shield gating is simply when you lose your shields in Warframe, you don't die, you reach a gate phase. It's a duration you'll be invulnerable, depends on how many shields you have. And then if you don't recover your shield, you're pretty much dead, because you're going to get blow to your HP. Okay? In our case, we're going to be using brief respite. The abilities we use, the energy we use on the abilities will be converted to shields. So all the time our shield is back, even if you receive a fatal blow. How you know you are in shield gating phase? The screen glitches. Now, premature footed is not necessary to use. You can use whatever you want, but you don't want to get knocked down. But it's up to you. You can use, for example, I can give you a couple of options here. You can use more range in here. For example, let's put more range, Cunning Drift, right about here, and then you're going to be reaching 250 range, and you will have 15 guns instead. Otherwise, you want to use something for knockdown. For example, you can use the normal Prime Sure-Footed, but I highly recommend Handspring if you don't have Prime Sure-Footed until you get it, because I know it's a login reward, and DE, please remove it from login reward and put it on Barukiteer, please. Okay, now Umbral Intensify for strength, Primed Flow for energy, Blind Rage for a strength and minus ability efficiency, Prompt Continuity for duration, Stretch for ability range, Rolling Guard for bad situations. If you get toxin, if you get something like, I don't know, surrounded by Thrax, you're mistaken and you enter into a nullifier bubble and stuff like that. Overextend for range and minus ability strength. Catalyzing shields is the old school of shield gating. In the meaning of your shield capacity will be to 66, means brief respite will get them all back in like one tap, okay? And then it will give you 1.33 seconds full shield gate immunity duration to recover your shields very fast. So, for example, you are 1.33 seconds immunity, you can cast anything, and brief respite will get you back your energy, and the catalyzing, brief respite, and so on. Now, if you don't have energy, that's Rolling Guard where it comes in play, and if you feel insecure first about the builds and how to perform shield gating, use Vazarin and dash on yourself. Okay, now, Arcane Energize, it's obvious for energy. Arcane Precision, you can take it off. Use whatever you want. You want to use your Molt Augment, use anything you want, depends on the weapon you want to use. But if you want to rely only on Xaku, then the Molt Augmented is the best in slot right here. Okay, so let's check this first build, as we're going to be using Nourish. We're going to be stripping with third ability. We're going to get them a lot of hits from Grasp of Log from the weapons, and we're going to be making them vulnerable to more void damage with the fourth ability, and then we're going to give them 325% more damage to their HP with viral 10 stacks. How crazy is that? And don't worry if you don't like Nourish, because Nourish is powerful and nice, but it limits the gameplay, it limits your style of the game, okay? I know that. And now let me show you how Nourish is actually played on Xaku, because it's a bit tricky and may limit some Tenno's gameplay. So, fourth ability active, second ability to steal their weapons, and then you want to use Gaze to actually armor strip them like so, and then we activate Nourish. Now, enemies that attack us will get Nourish stacks, which is viral and stuff like that, but we can't wait for the enemies, right? So we want to use a weapon, for example, modded for cold or whatever, and that will like speed up the process of actually killing them. There you go. So use any weapon and Nourish will do the rest, giving you viral in your attacks. Now, I know Nourish isn't the best and ideal way for Tennos to play, so I prepared for you a second build. And now for the second build, simply we use the same build, this is how powerful it is, with this perfected stats using Quiver. Now, Quiver is a subsumable Ivara, will make you invisible, but you don't have to use Quiver or Nourish. You can use Tempest Barrage, you can use Ensnare, you can use Wrathful Advance from Kullervo. Use anything you desire, alright? And this build and this stats is, let's say, adapting to any helpmate ability you can imagine. Simple as that. Alright, so how does exactly work? First, we're gonna be invisible. That's obvious, right? I'm invisible. Enemies doesn't know I exist. Simply, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the second ability to take their weapons, and then I will make them vulnerable to more void damage, and of course dodging any random bullets coming, and then I will just gaze them, and they are actually pretty much armor stripped. Now what they're missing is just viral from my shadow. And that's pretty much it. They are dead and they just don't know about it yet. Alright. And the most powerful thing here is that the damage will scale forever. Because it scales based on enemy's level, remember? Now, when it comes to companion, now I can suggest to you a lot of companions. Now, let's start with, for example, Nautilus, right about here. This is the build for Nautilus. Cordon to pull enemies, Assault, Manifold for more Cordon, Tenacious Bond Reinforced for critical damage and fire rate. And then we got the Virglass build, and Virglass, we're gonna board it for example, if you want, Viral and Heat. There you go, and with the Bane of Oricene. Alright, and here we go. Check this out. Invisible, stealing weapons, there you go, make them invulnerable, armor stripping them, and then what's going to happen is that my Virglass will be doing all the amazing work. All I have to do is just cast some abilities, and the shadows will be dealing the rest of what I want. Look at it, look at that. Look at them priming it with viral for me. Simple as that. Now, if we want to go Kubru, or for example, let's go for example Panzer Volpophyla. Okay, this is the Panzer Volpophyla build. There you go. And we're going to be using viral quills, territorial regression, duplex, and so on and so on. And then for the Panzer Close, we're going to be using, for example, the toxin in here. Again, we are invisible. There you go. Make them vulnerable and 75%, and then makes them armor strip, and then stealing their weapons, and then proccing viral from Sedo, and that's it. That's pretty much it. It's like the end game for them. And you keep going and you keep going. And now if you don't want to use Quiver and you still want to be invisible, really simple. You can use the Horus Cobro. There you go. This is the Horus Cobro, Stalk, Augment, and boom, 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 boom. Everything right here. And this is the Horus Close build right about there. And then we do the same thing. Now any enemies with the proximity, we're going to be invisible right about... come on, baby. There you go. And then we're going to be using second ability, fourth ability, and then gaze. Like so. There we go. Simple as that. Now, how easy this is. And then Sedo, of course, for the viral, and we're going to be killing them. So you see, you want and you always in Warframe, like, try different things, practice different things. You don't have to just take a build and copy it, alright? And I do my best and explaining and trying to help you. Now, of course, there is other ways to proc viral and corrosive and armor strip enemies. I will just leave you the shit right here, and you can decide for yourself. Now, when it comes to Archon shards, we're gonna be using 1 Amber Archon shard casting. If you have a Tau Forged, good. Now, 3 Tau Forged Crimson Archon shards. And then you want to have the Violet Archon Shard for energy and health, performing like Equilibrium. Now, like, if you don't have the Tau Forged red ones, it's okay. It's not a big deal, but you will have something to try and reach. Okay? So, yeah, pretty much it. That's all. That's Xaku. And by this we reached the end of the video. I really hope this video helps you out. And remember, when Xaku Prime comes out, there will be a video about how to farm him. And before that will be a preparation for farming Xaku. And then the Tromna Prime build. And then the Colossus Prime build. Everything will be available in the channel. So stay tuned for that. I want to say special thanks to all my special VIPs. Break, Kai, Illusion, or Freer. And all the donators, starting with the top G, Free Hate, Kali, Reg, or Freer, Victor, Mr. V, Mika, Awes, Milan, and Noob Master. And everyone supported the channel with a like, or a subscribe, or a comment, or a motivational speech, or a chat on the live streams. And anybody in my Discord, everyone feel free to join our Discord, link in the description. Follow me on Twitch, and see you guys next time. Until Xaku Prime comes out, we're gonna revisit this guy.